Okay, dear students, good evening. Today is your doubt clearance class, and I have just given you a sufficient time for that. But before having the conversation, we are having some remaining part of the topic. You know, in foreign policy, I have to deal with the policy of Lal Bahadur Shastri and Indira Gandhi. And it was in this context I have to discuss with you people the Indo-Pak War of 1965, which occurred during the period of Lal Bahadur Shastri, and then the Indo-Pak War of 1971 with the liberation of Bangladesh, and that occurred during the era of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So let me start from this point, my students. Then I have to come to your queries, so please have the patience. Actually, this is all about Lal Bahadur Shastri and Indira Gandhi. Actually, what happened at the time of Lal Bahadur Shastri, let us brief it first. Just 1 minute. Yes. In fact, Lal Bahadur Shastri became the Prime Minister accidentally in 1966. Actually, in 1964, in the end of 1964, you can say, in 1964 itself, actually after the sudden demise of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, all the other senior leaders were already in the Congress on Kamraj plan, I have just told you earlier. So all the senior members were already associated with the Congress as an organization. So Lal Bahadur Shastri, being the senior member, he was offered the post of Prime Minister. He had started his career with from the level of a school teacher, but he was well versed in international politics. What happened at the time of Lal Bahadur Shastri, I have to inform you. Actually, Nehru's government, or Nehruji particularly, received a major setback in Indo-Chinese War, you know, in 1962, which I have discussed with you. So, actually, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was supposed to be a great expert. He was characterized as the mastermind in foreign policy in India. Do you know that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru even never preferred to appoint any foreign minister in his external affairs department? Actually, whenever I am observing the pages of history, I come to realize that prior to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, it was Otto von Bismarck. Otto von Bismarck, who was a German chancellor. He was himself German chancellor, means he German prime minister. He was always gracing the post of the external affairs department or the foreign ministry. He completely dominated the department till his resignation from the post in 1890. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, till his death, he never appointed a foreign minister. He was himself gracing the post of the foreign minister, and he was supposed to be a mastermind in the politics of external affairs. Even the diplomats all over the world who were representing India at that time, they were also following the line of Nehru. But my students, Nehru definitely, while dealing with China, he received a major setback. But Lal Bahadur Shastri, he was novice in international politics, but he got tremendous success. मतलब लाल बहादुर शास्त्री को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति की जवाहरलाल नेहरू की तरह ज्ञान नहीं था, लेकिन उन्होंने जो करामात कर दिखाई वो दुनिया को चौंकाने वाली थी. Here I have to brief the story. Actually, what happened? It happened that this was the issue of Kashmir, you know. Actually, what happened? So General Ayub Khan, because in Pakistan, democracy did not survive, and after a long trial of nearly 9 years, the Pakistani constitution was enforced for the first time in 1956. But unfortunately, this constitution survived only for 2 years because in 1958 there was military general. His name was Ayub Khan. So Ayub Khan, you know, he just usurped the power. He seized the power. He brought a coup and he captured the power. So he destroyed the democracy in Pakistan in 1958. So it was General Ayub Khan who was at that time the French dictator, or the so-called French president, or you can say it was an orchestrated president, you know, not through the elections, you know, but rather you can say a dictator come president. So General Ayub Khan, at that time, Pakistan already became a member of two military organizations I have told you earlier. One was Baghdad Pact or CENTRO, another was SEATO, Southeast Asian Treaty Organization. So as he was, Pakistan was a military partner of USA. So that's why he got a lot of weapons from USA like Ajay Pattern tank and jet aircraft, etc., jet fighter aircraft. So Pakistan received the weapons from USA. So Pakistan was emboldened enough to invade India. So General Ayub Khan penetrated the Indian region from the side of Kashmir. At that time, General Ayub Khan was so much confident about his success that even he made a very hyperbolic statement or claim that we have to gradually drift towards Delhi in the same direction. मतलब उसने क्लेम किया कि हमें इसी तरह टहलते हुए दिल्ली जाना है. अब नाउ यू कैन से कि लाल बहादुर शास्त्री, इनफैक्ट देखो, in 1962 you know कि already the Indo-China war, just try to understand कि 1962 Indo-China war already occurred, you know. So China was definitely a rival and enemy country of India. And at that time, the Pakistan was divided in two parts. This was the western part of Pakistan. This was eastern part of Pakistan. So General Ayub Khan penetrated India from the side of Kashmir. He just tried to penetrate the Kashmir region. So he just, Indian region of Kashmir, he penetrated. So actually, he was already confident about the fact that whenever Pak would invade India, so India, out of frustration, India would move towards eastern Pakistan as it was an isolated region and try to, you can say, fight a battle in eastern Pakistan. So Pakistan was at secret connivance with China. Pakistan already made a secret arrangement with China that whenever Indian army would move towards eastern Pakistan, so China had to intervene into the matter, not from the behalf of Pakistan, but on the pretext that the military activities of India in the neighborhood of China has created a serious problem of security of China. So it is on this pretext that China had to intervene into the matter. So India had to be sandwiched by two enemies from the two corners. ये उसका ग्रैंड प्लान था कि ऐसा है कि जब हम इंडिया पर अटैक करेंगे तो आउट ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन इंडिया ईस्टर्न पाकिस्तान की तरफ जाएगा और चाइना इंटरवेन कर देगा इस बेसिस पर कि भाई तुम्हारी जो मिलिट्री एक्टिविटीज है उससे हमें खतरा नजर आ रहा है. बट लाल बहादुर शास्त्री हैज टेकन अ वेरी विटी स्टेप, a very apt step he took, and he even surprised his enemy. Enemy could not make a calculation ki in which direction Indian policy, foreign policy had to go at that time. Lal Bahadur Shastri just passed an order to the Indian army and the Indian military, you can say, establishment ki we have not to fight a defensive war in Kashmir, but rather make an invasion on the whole international border. Whole international border means that India had to move towards in this direction, you know, towards Pakistan through in this direction. So penetrate this region of Pakistan through Punjab. Now Indian army invaded the whole international border with Pakistan from western side. India didn't look towards eastern Pakistan. So now General Ayub Khan was nervous, a bit nervous, and he withdrew his invasion from Kashmir, and then Pakistan started to fight a defensive war in Punjab. मतलब उल्टा दांव पड़ गया। वो पहले कश्मीर में चाहता था ऑफेंस करके हम कश्मीर को पेनिट्रेट करें, लेकिन अंत में जिस समय लाल बहादुर शास्त्री ने कहा अपने आर्मी को कि हम डिफेंसिव वॉर नहीं लड़ेंगे, पूरे जो अंतर्राष्ट्रीय जो सीमा है पाकिस्तान के साथ हमारी, पूरे पर अटैक करिए। बस इंडियन आर्मी इधर से घुस गई, अब वो फंस गया पाकिस्तान, अब वो कश्मीर से निकल के यहाँ डिफेंसिव वॉर लड़ने लगा। देन इंडियन आर्मी ग्रेजुअली मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड पाकिस्तानी सोल्जर्स वेर moving in backward direction. If you people may have watched a border movie, you may recall, and there you find that in what way the Indian Air Force just started to move in the sky of Lahore. The same happened in the case. And although India didn't win a conclusive war, it is correct this war was not concluded, but India definitely created a tremendous military pressure over Pakistan, and for time being the aircrafts of the military aircrafts of India, they started to move in the sky of Pakistan. So General Ayub Khan was slightly nervous now, and he was beaten back by India. And at that time, the Lal Bahadur Shastri just appeared on the radio and made an appeal to the people of India कि जन हमारे अयूब भाई ने कहा था कि हमें इसी तरह टहलते हुए दिल्ली जाना है, और अगर हम ही इसी तरह टहलते हुए लाहौर चले गए तो क्या हुआ। कि our अयूब भाई used to make a statement कि we have to move to Delhi so swiftly. But if we could move towards Delhi so smoothly and swiftly, then what happened? So in this way, General Ayub Khan, you can say, was beaten back by Lal Bahadur Shastri. Then you can say, for time being, at that time the USA didn't take any direct interest into the matter, but at that time Soviet Russia, which had to be Indian sympathizer, so for time being the Soviet Russia, so it emerged to be a mediator between India and Pakistan at that time at Tashkent. You might have heard about Tashkent agreement. And for time being, Soviet Russia made a tilt towards Pakistan. What was the reason? Possibly as Pakistan was having the greater strategic importance, so that might have attracted to Russia. It is an only exception, So Soviet Russia created pressure over India, or the Indian Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, who participated in Tashkent agreement, to withdraw from the captured region and to return the region to Pakistan. Here I am just discussing about the provisions of the treaty, then he will be clear. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Actually, Lal Bahadur Shastri and General Ayub Khan, under the mediation of Soviet Russia, according to the agreement, the following points were to be followed by both the countries. Point first, India and Pakistan would both fall back to their previous positions held prior to August 5th, 1965. Matlab, both have to return to their old line of control. Two, neither would interfere into the internal affairs of the others and would discourage toxic propaganda against each other. Means you have not to make a toxic propaganda, means negative propaganda against each other. There would be an orderly transfer of prisoners of war and the two leaders would work towards improving bilateral relations. मतलब दोनों तरफ जो युद्ध बंदी है, दोनों एक दूसरे के विरुद्ध प्रोपेगेंडा नहीं करेगा, दोनों अपनी पुरानी सरहदों पर लौट जाए, क्योंकि इंडिया ने थोड़ा कैप्चर कर रखा था, और जो वॉर प्रिजनर्स हैं, जो युद्ध बंदी है, उनको रिहा किया जाए. And the agreement was reached to restore trade and economic relations as before. These were the provisions. So in one sense you can say that India was in advantageous position in war, but it was destined to lose the peace, because in this agreement, what you know as this Tashkent agreement was not in favor of India, rather it was slightly favor in Pakistan. Because particularly you can say that India was compelled to withdraw from certain passes. You will observe here between the just at the border of India and POK, in the POK side there were certain passes. Just Uri, Kargil, and you can say there were certain passes. So India had to withdraw from the passes. And even today you will find that it is through these passes the Pakistani terrorists are making infiltration. So if India could have captured the passes, it could have been in better interest of India. But under the Russian pressure, India had to withdraw from the passes, and India was helpless. India was helpless for the fact because India was, you can say, greatly obliged to Soviet Russia, you know. Yes, still India could win the war, almost win the war due to the Russian weapons. India was enjoying the support of Soviet Russia in UNO. So in that case, India could not antagonize the decision of UNO and could not oppose the decision of UNO. But Lal Bahadur Shastri fell under the tremendous pressure, and he came to realize that possibly he lost the peace. So that's why he could not bear this shock. And it was at Tashkent himself, he received a massive heart attack and he died. So his dead body came to India. This is all about, you can say, Tashkent agreement. My students, here in 2013 there was a question, so I have already given to you in the form of the question here. Oh. At that time in 2013, the size of the question was 200 words. Later slightly it was changed. Either it was reduced up to 150 words or it had extended up to 250 words now. But at that time the size of the question was of 200 words. So I have just started. India's position was strong in Indo-Pak war in 1965. Pakistan was almost cornered out. Pakistan invaded Kashmir. India's Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri showed his sagacity and his sense of judgment. He preferred a forward policy, and instead of following a defensive policy in Kashmir, he decided to invade whole international border. Now Pakistan came at back foot and was forced to leave the policy of aggression. Indian army penetrated the border and moved towards Lahore. Therefore, Pakistan put all its strength to save its eastern front. Although this war remained inconclusive, but the position of India remained to be stronger. Soviet Russia started mediation between the two parties. Therefore, in 1966, the ceasefire came into effect and Tashkent agreement was signed between India and Pakistan. Through this agreement, an attempt was made to restore peace between India and Pakistan. This agreement came into force on 11th January and it was decided that both the countries would withdraw their forces and reach to the previous position by 25th February. It was also decided that diplomatic relations would be restored between the two countries. However, this peace proved to be temporary, and after 5 years, India had to meet another face-off with Pakistan in 1971. Above all, the settlement reached through Russian mediation was not in favor of India. Under this agreement, India had to leave Haji Pir Pass. This was the pass, important, from where you can say it became a passage for infiltration into Indian territory. But India was bound to accept this agreement because India didn't want to displease Soviet Russia. Soviet Russia had been an important pillar of India's foreign policy. Overall, the Tashkent agreement was just a ceasefire. There was no progress in resolving the controversial issue like Kashmir. So my students, this was in 2013 UPSC question, and today I have sent you a lot of study material. Mr. Ankur, what is the situation? Have they received?
Yes, sir.
Have they received? Have they downloaded? My student, today I will discuss in the last how many topics I have given to you and you people have to go through it. I have given you the enough study material and you people have to follow it. तो मतलब ये जो मैंने आपको ये दिया हुआ है, ये बेसिकली ये आपका आंसर है। 2013 में आपसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था, उसका मॉडल आंसर दिया। अब 2 क्वेश्चंस 2013 का, एक बांग्लादेश वॉर, दूसरा ताशकंद एग्रीमेंट, ये दोनों का मॉडल आंसर मैंने दिया हुआ है। और ये दोनों मॉडल आंसर आपको मैंने नहीं भेजा है मिस्टर अंकुर, ये दोनों मॉडल आंसर यू हैव टू सेंड टू देम। ये दोनों भी मॉडल आंसर भी, यस, गुड। अब आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस अबाउट बांग्लादेश वॉर। Just actually, my students, what happened in case of Bangladesh, I have to make you clear. This is Pakistan, Western Pakistan, Eastern Pakistan. Just try to recall the specific events in national movement of India. Just recall Lahore session of 1940, March 1940. What is the speciality of Lahore session of March 1940? Mr. Ankur, ask my students, please. Actually, I am a bit curious if my students have still preserved the essential ideas and analysis or not. March 23rd, March 1940, Lahore session. What is the speciality of this session? Mr. Ankur, ask my student, please, my student, let this class be communicative. Please give some hint to what happened in this session. 23rd March 1940. Be fast. Demand of separate. Yes, demand of separate Muslim state. My students, are you recalling in a specific Lahore session, the Muslim League used the term कि separate Muslim state or states. So some critic has rightly quipped it prepared the basis for future Bangladesh. Means कि Muhammad Ali Jinnah was compelled to accept the proposal because there was the pressure from Fajrul Haq from Bengal, because the Muslims of Bengal were very curious and very conscious about their cultural identity, and they were not ready to merge their Bengali identity into Punjabi identity. Because at that time you can say, what do you know as Pakistan? So there is the very important term Pakistan is equal to Punjabi Muslims plus Sunni plus Urdu. Means कि Pakistan was created in the name of religion, but basically it was symbolizing Punjabi dominance, Sunni Muslims. There were little space for Shia, Ahmadiyya, Khoja and different types of Muslims, you know. And Urdu is an, you can say, a state language and the official language. So my students, just after independence of Pakistan, some controversy started between Western Pakistan and Eastern Pakistan. What is the size? Today you can say, at that time, how many provinces? Western frontier provinces, Punjab. Population wise, Punjab was largest. Then comes the turn of, you can say, Sindh, and then Baluchistan. It was having the largest geographical area, but sparsely populated, so Punjab was the largest state. So here you can say 4 states. Northwest Frontier Province, Punjab, Sindh and Balochistan, 4 states in western Pakistan, and eastern Pakistan, the single state Bengal. What is the geographical size you are observing? But you will be surprised to know that this was more populous than this. Even the 4 provinces could not equate the total population of eastern Pakistan in Bengal. Surprisingly, you know. Do you understand my point? मतलब ये दोनों, ये सारे के सारे 4 स्टेट्स मिलकर भी, नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर प्रोविंस, पंजाब, सिंध एंड बलूचिस्तान, इसके पॉपुलेशन वाइज बराबरी नहीं कर सकते थे. इट इज रियली अ मैटर ऑफ सरप्राइज, यू नो. सो व्हेनेवर द एक्चुअली प्रोसेस ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकिंग स्टार्टेड इन पाकिस्तान, seriously from 1948 itself, you know, and we people didn't lose the time, and just after independence, on not after, you can say, on midnight speech of Nehru, so that took place, you can say, in Constituent Assembly itself, and next day on 15th of August, with the Indian Freedom, Constituent Assembly opened and started the process of constitution making. Although Jinnah made an address to the Constitution Assembly of Pakistan in 11th August 1947, but truth is that in actual sense the constitution making process started in Pakistan from January-February 1948, after wasting such a time. Anyway, the process started. So Pakistan chose Urdu as the official language. My students, on the question of official language, I have enlightened you earlier. Our government and we Indians have taken a very flexible approach on linguistic on the basis of the language and linguistic states, you know. Pakistan was blind towards the language. So actually in Pakistan Constituent Assembly, basically the Punjabi, there was the Punjabi dominance. But still the Punjabis Muslims were promoting the cause of Urdu as the national language and an official language. But in fact in Bengal you can say 15% was in eastern Bengal, the 23% Hindu population, you know. So there was the one Bengali Hindu, his name was Dhirendra Kumar Datta. So even he participated in the constitution making process, you know, here. And Dhirendra Kumar Datta was representing the delegation from eastern Bengal, you know. So Dhirendra Kumar Datta for the first time raised the issue that even Bengali should be recognized along with Urdu as the official language, Bengali. And here the western Pakistan, you can say leaders and diplomats of western Pakistan were not going to concede the demand of this Bengali language, and this demand was raised in February 1948 by Dhirendra Kumar Datta, that was representing the eastern Pakistan at that time, the delegation, the linguistic delegation. So at that time Liaquat Ali Khan was the Prime Minister of Pakistan, so he told that be conscious about this Hindu. He is consciously creating cleavage between the Muslims on the issue of language. मतलब धीरेन्द्र कुमार दत्ता को उन्होंने ब्लेम करने की कोशिश की, देखो भाई वो हिंदू है, उसके चक्कर में मात पड़ी, वो जानबूझ के मुसलमानों के बीच दरार उत्पन्न कर रहा है लैंग्वेज के आधार पर. And then Jinnah went to eastern Pakistan on 21st March 1948. It was the first visit of Jinnah in eastern Pakistan, first and the last time. 21st February 1948. And Jinnah there told that in fact you people have to forget Bengali and learn Urdu. And this Bengali was being promoted by communist and Indian sympathizers with an objective of creating cleavage within Pakistan. तो जिन्ना ने ये जताने की कोशिश की कि देखिए ये जो उर्दू है, ये जो बंगाली लैंग्वेज का मुद्दा है, ये बेसिकली एक कॉन्स्पिरेसी है. लेकिन तब तक बंगाली लैंग्वेज की बात बंगाल में इतनी फैल गई थी कि इवन ब्रांच ऑफ बंगाल, द मुस्लिम लीग ब्रांच ऑफ बंगाल, बिकॉज एट दैट टाइम देयर वाज द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ मुस्लिम लीग इन बंगाल, यू नो. So this Muslim League was so much offended at the issue of language, even the Muslim League was just, you can say, raising the demand of language against the Western Pakistan ki yes, there should be the Bengali language. तो पहला क्लीवेज तो उसी समय हुआ और उसी समय ईस्टर्न पाकिस्तान ने ऑटोनॉमी की मांग कर दी कि नो, ईस्टर्न पाकिस्तान शुड बी ऑटोनोमस फ्रॉम वेस्टर्न पाकिस्तान. दिस इज द पॉइंट हियर माय स्टूडेंट्स. आर यू क्लियर? अब मैं दूसरा इंटरेस्टिंग बात बताता हूं. You have to be mentally alert. In Western Pakistan, actually, one important issue was the total population of Western Pakistan was less than the total population of or that of Eastern Pakistan. In Constituent Assembly, there was the question of providing the number of seats in Legislative Assembly. So Western Pakistan, the leaders of Western Pakistan were worried about the fact that if on the basis of population and one man, one vote, the number of seats had to be allocated between the Western Pakistan and Eastern Pakistan, the total number of seats of Eastern Pakistan had to exceed from that of the Western Pakistan, and then in future when the elections had to be conducted, so the Prime Minister or the head of the government would be from Eastern Pakistan. And in Western Pakistan there was the Punjabi dominance, and after the rise of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, he was from Sindh. When the Sindh came into limelight, so Sindhi and Punjabi are not in a mood to tolerate the presence of Bengalis, because they are just treating Bengalis as inferior. They were not going to accept, and they were not in a mood to give equal status to Bengal as well. So how could they tolerate that there would be the Prime Minister and the head of the government from Bengal, and population wise Bengal deserved that. So it became a matter of concern for political leaders in Pakistan, you know. मैं स्टूडेंट्स आप लोग समझ गए होंगे कि भाई देखो पॉपुलेशन इसका ज्यादा है और डेमोक्रेसी है, तो आपको देना तो पड़ेगा सीट्स इसको ज्यादा, और सीट्स ज्यादा देने पर वो भयभीत हैं कि फिर इसकी गवर्नमेंट बन जाएगी, प्राइम मिनिस्टर यहां से आ जाएगा, हेड ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट यहां से आ जाएगा. डू यू नो, in fact constitution making process involved nearly 9 years in Pakistan. 9 years. Why? It was due to the fact that the leaders from Western Pakistan were continuously creating pressure over the representatives of Eastern Pakistan कि better to divide the seat on equal basis, equal number of seats in West and equal number of seats of East. It was an undemocratic demand, but my friends, Muslim League right from the beginning, it remained to be a party of elites, you can say, and it right from the very beginning it stuck to the undemocratic values. Recall Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, he was not ready to tolerate the Hindu majority. He started divisive politics in India, and he tried to establish that Hindu and Muslims are the two comms, so there should be the two votes, one vote for Hindu and one vote for Muslims, in order to avert the pressure of majority. And same majority pressure was now threatening Western Pakistan. So once again the same undemocratic demand from Western Pakistan. So it took almost 9 years to frame the constitution of Pakistan, starting from in 1947 it was finished up to 1956. इंडिया ने 3 years में अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाए, आपने देखा था, और पाकिस्तान को अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को फ्रेम करने में 9 years लग गए थे. और अफसोस कि वह कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन 2 years चल पाया, 1956 to 1958, when General Ayub Khan brought a coup and demolished the democratic government of Iskandar Mirza. He was there at that time. So, do you understand my point? So this was the case. अब anyway, after General Ayub Khan, General Ayub Khan lost the Indo-Pak war in 1965, so his position was disgraced in Pakistan. So he had to lose his power, and there was the rise of a new military general. His name was Yahya Khan. So Yahya Khan later came to make a compromise with Eastern Pakistan, and Yahya Khan came to realize, yes, the total number of seats should be allocated on the basis of population. तो याहिया खान ने अंत में इस बात को एक्सेप्ट कर लिया ईस्टर्न पाकिस्तान के प्रेशर को देखते हुए कि ठीक है कि दोनों को इक्वल नंबर ऑफ सीट्स के रूप में डिवीजन हो जाए, मतलब इक्वल नंबर ऑफ सीट्स, सॉरी, मतलब पॉपुलेशन के बेसिस पर ही सीट्स का एलोकेशन हो. देन डेफिनेटली मोर नंबर ऑफ सीट्स केम इन द फेवर. एंड माय स्टूडेंट्स, can you believe that we people have, and we Indians conducted the first elections in 1951-52, second 1956, and not 1956, yes, 1956, and third 1962, and fourth 1967, and fifth 1971 and 72. So my friends, we have conducted 4 elections up to 1967, and Pakistan didn't conduct any election till that date, and Pakistan conducted the first elections in 1970. पाकिस्तान का पहला आम चुनाव 1970 में हुआ, and when at that time General Yahya Khan was the president in one sense, the self-styled president, and he appointed Zulfikar Ali Bhutto as the prime minister. It was Zulfikar Ali Bhutto who was conducting the elections in Pakistan, and in the elections, surprisingly, or in one sense no surprise at all, at that time there was the formation of a party here. The name of the party was Awami League. Awami League. It was formed in 1949 itself. And Awami League was nothing else. It was the part of the Muslim League itself. But the Muslim League of Bengal converted itself in Awami League, and started to raise the cause of autonomy of Eastern Pakistan, started to raise the cause of Bengali language. So leader of Awami League was who? Leader was Mujibur Rahman. Mujibur Rahman. Today, my friends, you might have heard the name of Sheikh Hasina Wajid, present government representing who is heading the present government of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina Wajid. She is the daughter of Mujibur Rahman. Although Mujibur Rahman was assassinated in 1975, but when he fought elections in 1970, Mujibur Rahman. So surprisingly, you can say Awami League got the largest number of seats, taking whole Pakistan, because more allocated seats were there, and 99% seats in each Pakistan were won by Awami League. So Awami League won the elections, total number of seats. So now, according to the democratic process, Mujibur Rahman had to take the oath as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And whenever there was a question of taking the oath by Mujibur Rahman, so Zulfikar Ali Bhutto could not tolerate this. There should be Prime Minister from Eastern Pakistan. So Zulfikar Ali Bhutto denied giving the position to Mujibur Rahman. So Awami League started movement in Eastern Pakistan. So Western Pakistan sent the army to East. अब वेस्टर्न पाकिस्तान ने अपनी आर्मी भेज दी, and then started the unparalleled repression of the people of Eastern Pakistan. Mujibur Rahman was arrested and he was sent to an unknown destination, and the army of Western Pakistan cracked down on the people of Eastern Pakistan and the members of Awami League. Do you know that nearly 3 million people were eliminated in East Pakistan? So the heavy reprisals started in East Pakistan. So due to the heavy reprisals, you should know that now there was the influx of refugees from Eastern Pakistan. There was the influx of refugees. So as the influx of refugees started, so it created a very pathetic situation. An influx of refugees from Eastern Pakistan to India. So the government of Mrs. Gandhi was in a difficult situation. The one point was the activities of Eastern Pakistan, so created the nearly 10 million refugees gathered in India. It created a major problem for India. Then you can say there was a tensions in border. It created a security problem for India as well. And then India was also having the eyes if the eastern Pakistan would be covertly, diplomatically, it was beneficial for India if eastern Pakistan is getting freedom, because in eastern Pakistan was at connivance with China. Both were the very close partners, and they were threatening the security of India in the east. So at that time there was the formation of Mukti Bahini army, Mukti Bahini Sena, that was in eastern Pakistan. So Indian army started to give the covert support, and extended the covert support to Mukti Bahini army of eastern Pakistan. So in this way you can say, and in the meantime Indira Gandhi started diplomatic offensive. What is the temperature, Ankur? And Indira Gandhi started a diplomatic offensive against Pakistan. She sent its embassies and ambassadors, you can say, in the far off regions, K. Natwar Singh, etc. And they were sent to convince a number of governments in the world that Pakistan has created unlivable condition for India. And surprisingly, India got support from and sympathy from the majority of countries in the world on the issue, the refugee crisis and what was happening in eastern Pakistan. And in the meantime, Pakistan was nervous, and Indira Gandhi was very cautious about the fact that actually Indira Gandhi was apprehensive if India would take any military action against eastern Pakistan, so China might intervene on the behalf of Pakistan. So India here, you can say, played a game. India was waiting for the opportunity. You can say the Indira Gandhi was waiting for the opportunity. When the winter season will start and there will be a snowfall, and all the passes between China and India from where the Chinese army could move, so these passes would be blocked, and that will be inconvenient for China to move towards western side. So it is the very opportune moment for India, and at that time India had to intervene into inter-Pakistan. So although this conflict, you can say problems started much earlier, but Indira Gandhi was waiting for the arrival of winter. And my friends, Indira Gandhi was also conscious about the fact that India should not project herself as invader. Let Pakistan invade first. And the same happened. The government of Pakistan became a bit nervous at the Indian gesture, and the all-round offensive of India against Pakistan. So on 3rd December 1971, that is, you can say 3rd December 1971, so suddenly Pakistan invaded, you can say attacked India, and that was, Pakistani aircraft suddenly started bombardment in India. So Indian Air Force and the Indian Army were well prepared in advance. So suddenly it countered the Pakistani move. No damage could be done to India, and then war started. And surprisingly, India could win the war in 14 days itself, in 11 days itself. On 16th December, there was the total defeat of Pakistan, and nearly 90,000 Pakistani soldiers just made a surrender, a complete surrender in eastern Pakistan. And for the first time in history, you can say a country wrote surrender and signed a surrender proposal before a winning army. This is you will not find such a case either in First World War or even in Second World War. तो सरेंडर लेटर पर पाकिस्तान ने क्लियर कट साइन किया, और तब उसने सरेंडर किया. यहाँ जनरल नियाजी उसमें पाकिस्तानी जनरल था, और जीएस अरोरा ईस्टर्न पाकिस्तान का जगजीत सिंह अरोरा ऑपरेशन देख रहा था. मतलब वन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग आई हैव टू इन्फॉर्म यू कि नॉर्मली द सोल्जर्स एंड आर्मी हु सरेंडर्ड, so his weapons are seized immediately by winning party. But here in eastern Pakistan, you will find one more exception as well. Jagjit Singh Arora didn't make Pakistani soldiers surrender the weapons for the fear that Pakistan committed such a vast atrocities in eastern Pakistan, and people of eastern Pakistan are so much offended with the behavior of western Pakistan. So Jagjit Singh Arora was apprehensive about the fact that in absence of weapons there might have been the lynching of Pakistani soldiers. Lynching of Pakistani soldiers. So for that fear, it didn't demand the weapons. मतलब उनको डर था कि अगर पाकिस्तानी सोल्जर्स से हम हथियार ले लेंगे तो शायद उसकी लिंचिंग हो जाएगी. In this way, my students, then there was the creation of an independent Bangladesh, and India got independence. So this is the case. Here also I have given to you some question. Critically examine the obligations which pressed India to play a pivotal role in the emergence of Bangladesh. Critically examine the obligations which pressed India to play a pivotal role in the emergence of Bangladesh. 200 words. Answer. Bangladesh was a natural culmination of the separatist policy of Muslim League, which gave birth to Pakistan. A section of Muslim community felt cheated at the creation of a nation in the name of religion. Further, as India was forced to accept the partition in the same way, the government of India was forced to get involved in the matter of Bangladesh. Pakistan's activities posed a threat to India's security. This question was in the same UPSC 2013 and even UPSC 2013 on the same year. This is the first one year when the general studies, you can say the new syllabus was introduced in mains, so there was a question in both the, right. So involved in the matter of Bangladesh, Pakistan's activities pose a threat to India's security, you know. The demand of Bangladesh came into forefront with the first elections in Pakistan, and it turned into a big crisis. Pakistani General Yahya Khan along with Zulfikar Ali Bhutto launched a repressive policy towards towards East Pakistan. Towards East Pakistan. Actually, it was called Bangladesh later. Here the term should be East Pakistan. East Pakistan, he didn't allow the Awami League to form the government despite its success in elections. It was completely anti-democratic step, but initially India avoided to intervene into the internal matter of Pakistan. But India was compelled to be engaged in Pakistan's imbroglio. Pakistan imbroglio, even that will work, no problem. Pakistan imbroglio मतलब उसकी झंझटों में, due to following reasons. Firstly, repressive action initiated by Pakistan in East Pakistan created a refugee crisis in India. Secondly, genocide in Bangladesh. East Pakistan. Genocide in East Pakistan raised issue of human rights. Covertly, the separation of East Pakistan might prove a geopolitical success for India. In fact, presence of Pakistan as China's closest neighbor in India's east was a major threat to India's security. China was India's big rival but Pakistan's ally. Thus, India's intervention in the issue of Bangladesh was connected with its largest security interest as well. However, the immediate cause of Indo-Pak war was Pakistan's invasion on India in early December. India was well prepared for the situation. India entered into a treaty of friendship. One important thing, actually, when India was getting success, or India, in fact, before war, India started an offensive against Pakistan. So Pakistan was doing excesses in eastern Pakistan. But USA was blind to this phenomena because Pakistan was its partner and India started offensive against Pakistan. So directly USA could not take side with Pakistan. So USA in one sense encouraged China. USA encouraged China because at that time, at this turn of history, my friends, China and USA came near to each other due to the role of Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger was an American diplomat and he was a China sympathizer. So he played a mediation between President Nixon, American President Nixon, and China's head Mao Zedong. At that time, secretly, even Nixon made a trip to China as well. So it was in American mediation, China and Pakistan came near to each other and America convinced China, persuaded China to give support to Pakistan. So as a trade was made among USA, China and Pakistan against India, so to counter this trade, Mrs. Gandhi signed a treaty of friendship in 1971 for 20 years with Soviet Russia. It led to the treaty between India and Soviet Russia. In one sense, it was in denial of the policy of non-alignment, although it was not a military alliance. Overtly, it was not a military alliance, but India could get a lot of things because at that time, you can say, USA, when India was winning success and the East Pakistan was on the verge of getting freedom, so USA could not tolerate this, and it among the, you can say, seventh fleet of USA. So some ships of 7th fleet of USA were sent to Bay of Bengal. One was USS Enterprise, that was nuclear weapons carrier ship, which created psychological pressure over India. So there is a very interesting story कि इंदिरा गांधी ने जनरल मानेक शाह था मिलिट्री कमांडर, उसे जनरल मानेक शाह से पूछा कि मानेक शाह, इफ यूएसए वुड use the nuclear option against India, then what can we do? So General Manak Shah replied, कि madam, in that case, neither you can do anything nor us. So better to let us do our work. And simply in 11 months, any other party could intervene in the matter and might declare ceasefire as you find in case of Kashmir. India completely win because India was already enjoying Russian veto in UNO. So no one can stop India, and within 11 years, there was a complete Pakistani surrender in eastern Pakistan. So Pakistan and China, now Indian army stood with Mukti Vahini of Bangladesh, and India maintained pressure on East Pakistan as well as West Pakistan, both simultaneously. Then finally Bangladesh emerged as an independent nation in South Asia through India's intervention. That's enough. Okay, my students, my work is over. Now your turn. अब आप लोग के पास क्वेरीज हैं और आप लोग इंटाइटल्ड हो, तो लास्ट में मैं आज का कुछ इंस्ट्रक्शन दे दूंगा और तब आगे का प्रोग्राम बता दूंगा. आई जस्ट टेल यू ब्रीफ, मेक ए ब्रीफिंग ऑफ योर फ्यूचर प्रोग्राम. सो मिस्टर अंकुर, व्हाट इज द कंडीशन ऑफ माय स्टूडेंट्स? हाउ आर दे? कैसे हैं आप लोग? पहले मेरे एक क्वेश्चन का जवाब दीजिए. मिस्टर अंकुर, let them answer one question, then I will start. Have you developed confidence in modern history? Have you developed integrated approach? You have to divide modern history in 4 parts. Never forget my formula, integrated approach, the history of 18th century, the history of colonialism, the history of nationalism and post-independence era. And every segment had to be integrated. Later I will give you a lot of model answers, more model answers, but Ankur asked my students, have they developed their confidence in modern history? क्या उन्होंने मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री में इंटरेस्ट पैदा किया, कॉन्फिडेंस पैदा किया? ओके, कॉन्फिडेंस पैदा किया, इंटरेस्ट. यस. अब मिस्टर अंकुर आस्क द क्वेश्चन.
पूछ रहे हैं सर कि नॉन कोऑपरेशन
Extension, no, you cannot use the term extension because nature wise, Shovik,
yes
Shovik, nature wise, there is the greater difference between Swadeshi movement and non-cooperation movement. Swadeshi movement was not a popular movement. It remained to be a middle class movement, more or less. But in non-cooperation movement, you can say there was the wider participation of peasants as well, women, Hindu, Muslims. So it was a mass movement, you can say. Not middle class movement, a mass movement. So there was a difference in the nature between the two.
Jagannath कह रहे हैं कि सर start from the 18th century to 19th. Just say a whole history.
My friends, actually in your class there is one difficulty, English and Hindi both. So allow me in one language, Jagannath, and you people. So then I can make a briefing. Otherwise, in both the language, can you imagine that? At least I have involved 7 to 8 classes to you people simply for the fact that I have to use both the languages, and that is going to be time taking. Fortunately, I was conducting a class for 2 hours, so I could finish it. Bhai Jagannath, actually my friends, Jagannath is asking me to make a briefing from 18th century to Indian independence and in all the giving briefing. But if I will give the briefing in both the languages, so that will be too much time taking. I cannot manage. And तो आप अगर कोई एक लैंग्वेज अलाउ करोगे मुझे तो मैं कर सकता हूं. Give me the chance of the single one language.
Response to mixes. मुझे लगता है कि हिंदी में बोल देंगे.
No, I think actually this will be a very ticklish task, Mr. Ankur. To make a briefing from 18th century to Indian independence is definitely a ticklish task, because actually whenever I have to deal with the history of 18th century, the history of 18th century में 2 पार्ट है, उसको ध्यान रखो. एक है कि मुगल एम्पायर का डिसइंटीग्रेशन हुआ है, मुगल एम्पायर डिसइंटीग्रेटेड, एंड in fact there was the rise of regional states. तो ये तो तुम्हारे लिए इंफॉर्मेशन हुआ, दैट इज द इंफॉर्मेशन. बट हियर द अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज in what way we are taking the first half of 18th century. Was it a phase of decline or was it an era of with new potentialities? या कोई नए पोटेंशियल का एज है या एज ऑफ डिक्लाइन है? यही मैंने आपको 18th सेंचुरी के फर्स्ट हाफ में बताया. इन द सेकेंड हाफ ऑफ 18th सेंचुरी you have to start the story from the changes in Western world, and it happened due to the Crusades and due to, you can say, the decline of Constantinople का डिक्लाइन हुआ. तो ईस्ट एंड वेस्ट के बीच जो ट्रेड का डिसरप्शन हुआ, तो ट्रेड के डिसरप्शन के कारण it created a lot of problems, and then the alternative routes started. It led to sea voyages. Actually, the discovery of alternative routes led to sea voyages, and it brought a lot of change. That the advent of European companies one by one, and these companies started their trade as mercantile, started mercantile activities as the trading organizations. अब याद करो जिसमें पोर्चुगीज, डच, ब्रिटिश, फ्रेंच and then they started to compete with each other in order to develop and have the dominance over India. So main rivalry occurred between the French and the British, then Carnatic War, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, and then after Battle of Buxar, the Treaty of Allahabad. You are stopping here in 1765. तो ये सेगमेंट तो आपको 1765 में इलाहाबाद की ट्रीटी में जाके समाप्त हो जाता है. फिर आता है कॉलोनियलिज्म. तो आई हैव डिफाइंड कि व्हाट इज कॉलोनियलिज्म, what is capitalism, what is capitalism in Britain, that is colonialism in India, because India was subjected to the capitalist exploitation of Britain. So when there was the mercantile capitalism, there was the mercantile phase of colonialism. And then I have informed you that whenever the colonialism is basically an economic relation, but it was going to affect the political, social, cultural structure as well. तो वहां पर जैसे जैसे कॉलोनियलिज्म आता है तो सारे पॉलिसीज को लिंक करिए, पहले मर्केंटाइल फेज में, फिर इंडस्ट्रियल फेज में, फिर फाइनेंशियल फेज में. नेशनलिज्म का मतलब है कि इंडियन रिएक्शन स्टार्टेड. पहले प्रोटो नेशनलिस्ट रिएक्शन हुआ, फिर फर्स्ट वॉर ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस 1857 का रिवोल्ट, फिर आपने देखा सोशियल रिफॉर्म्स मूवमेंट ऑफ 19th सेंचुरी, मतलब मॉडर्न नेशनलिज्म का यहीं से राइज हुआ. फिर मैंने आपको कहा कि अब यहां से आप पॉलिटिकल इवेंट्स की पॉलिटिकल नेशनलिज्म की तरफ बढ़िए, और आप कैसे, तो फाउंडेशन ऑफ इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस इन 1885 to 1907 द फर्स्ट फेज, तो वहां आपने लिया. तो दोनों ट्रेंड्स को देखिए, नेशनलिज्म का प्रोग्रेस कैसे हो रहा है, कम्युनलिज्म का कैसे हो रहा है. फिर आगे बढ़िए 1907 to 1914 में आइए, आफ्टर द स्पिरिट ऑफ सूरत, तो नेशनलिज्म का कैसे प्रोग्रेस हुआ, कम्युनलिज्म का कैसे हुआ. फिर 14 to 19 आइए, फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर का इंपैक्ट नेशनलिज्म पर कैसे पड़ा, कम्युनलिज्म पर कैसे पड़ा. फिर गांधी का एडवेंट, गांधी की आइडियोलॉजी. फिर 1920 to 1929 नेशनलिज्म का प्रोग्रेस, कम्युनलिज्म का प्रोग्रेस. फिर आप 29 से 39 नेशनलिज्म एंड कम्युनलिज्म का प्रोग्रेस, एंड 1939 to 1945 नेशनलिज्म का प्रोग्रेस और कम्युनलिज्म, एंड 45 to 47. तो आप सारे इश्यूज को रिवाइज करके माय स्टूडेंट्स, देन यू हैव टू डू द बौद्धिक जुगाली, इंटेलेक्चुअल फर्मेंटेशन. सोचना है, डिस्कस करना है. जितना तुम डिस्कस करोगे, जितना शक्कर डालोगे उतना ही मीठा होगा. जितना आप इंटेलेक्चुअल फर्मेंटेशन करोगे उतना ही प्रोग्रेस होगा. और फिर पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस एरा में नेशन बिल्डिंग का पूरा प्रोसेस है, जिसके 6 चैलेंज क्या है, पार्टीशन, ट्रॉमा, रिफ्यूजी क्राइसिस एटसेट्रा. देन one is integration of princely states. Second one is to, you can say, create a modern nation on the basis of a democratic constitution. Third one, you can say, to create a unity in diversities, to create unity among diversities. That is the third one. Fourth one is what? We ensure the social justice, Fifth one, the economic policy. Sixth one, the foreign policy. तो माय स्टूडेंट्स, इस तरह से आप पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस एरा में आ गए. उसको रिवाइज करिए, रिवाइज करके थोड़ा सा वहां पर इंटेलेक्चुअल फर्मेंटेशन करिए, थोड़ा सोचिए. मैंने हमेशा कोशिश की है आप लोगों को एक थिंकिंग क्रिएचर बनाने का. तो मिस्टर अंकुर, और पूछिए इनसे, अब मैं कैसे हेल्प करूं.
Krishnamurti Iyer पूछ रहे सर, why India failed to resettle the after war who migrate during war from east.
Once again,
Why India
with name.
Krishnamurti Iyer.
अच्छा, कृष्णमूर्ति अय्यर. यस.
Sir, why India failed to resettle the refugees after war who migrated during war from East Pakistan?
Actually, my friends, it was very difficult for India to absorb the nearly 1 crore refugees immediately in East Pakistan, because most of the refugees penetrated Assam, Tripura and nearby region. Actually, my students, Krishnamurti Iyer, in fact, the basic problem is that India was the federal system, A state is having its own identity, although there is the tilt, the federation tilted, not you can say union of a state, the union tilted in favor of the center, but still the state was having some say, state government. So state government was making a very strong objection to this phenomena. And my friends, here I have to inform you, even in course of the Bangladesh war, the refugees came to India. So the refugees, later many of them were resettled in Bangladesh after formation of Bangladesh. But the low-key infiltration and the low-key, you can say, migration from eastern Pakistan always continued. And presently, it created a bigger problem in Assam, So NRC was introduced, In spite of the fact that just after the creation of Bangladesh, a large number of refugees were resettled there, but still the problem could not be solved. And in Northeast state, even today you find it created a major problem.
Ajay Kushner, sir, why not ready to accept the demand of princely state?
In order to damage India, Ajay Jinnah was inclined to damage India. That's why Jinnah consciously encouraged the separatist tendency of the princely states, because more and more states had to be merged with India and very less number of states with Pakistan. So Pakistan, while accepting some harm to itself, it was so retaliatory against India that it tried to make a major damage to India. So that's why Jinnah took such a posture, Mr. Ajay.
Sir, what is the condition after the battle of Panipat?
Sakshi, I have already briefed this story. Possibly you have missed this class, Sakshi. So you people are having the recording at your home. So please go through the recording. That will give you the information. In fact, when the Marathas lost the battle of Panipat, so for time being, Marathas returned to their own region. It was a setback to Marathas. And in January 1761, the Marathas lost the war. And in June 1761, the Peshwa Balaji Bajirao, who was at that time the existing Peshwa, who died. But his successor was Madhav the First, who was his son. He was a very competent Peshwa. And within 11 years, under the able leadership of Madhav the First, the Maratha power was revived. And there was particularly the rise of the Scindia house, Mahaji Scindia. Who has told this question? Sakshi. Sakshi, I am just addressing you. So there was the rise of you can say Mahaji Scindia, and Mahaji Scindia rescued the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II, who was just a British pensioner at Kara, and restored him on the throne of Delhi. So I have briefed whole of the story, Sakshi, at that time. Possibly you have missed this class.
Why didn't India conquer some area of Bangladesh or chicken neck issue after winning 1921?
It was not possible. It was against the international law. And who? Pinto. Actually, if India could have captured some region of Bangladesh, it was running against the international law, and even other powers could have a point of objection to this phenomena. And Bangladesh could have a permanent enmity could have been created between India and Bangladesh at that time. Here you are observing the map of Bangladesh. A friendly Bangladesh is more important than a hostile Bangladesh. It is unfortunate condition even today there would be the government of Begum Khalida Jia. She was unfriendly to India, but it was an opportunity that Begum Khalida Jia is in opposition and she boycotted the elections earlier, and Sheikh Hasina Wajid remained to be a friendly country, This is this one is chicken neck. So suppose you can say it is your own region, which region you could have captured. Even you could have captured this region, suppose. So that is not going to solve your problem. If China could have penetrated the region, so you could penetrate this region to even that region, A friendly Bangladesh could give you a passage from Bengal even in this way. Even in this way, you can say.
Garima Puchki, due to which reason the Indian rupee had to be devalued, and what was the impact of the devaluation?
When? Garima, when? We are talking about the devaluation when?
Latin पूछ sir, how anti-imperialistic policy affect our foreign policy?
Jatin, your question is not clear. Once again, Mr. Ankur, what is the question?
How anti-imperialistic policy affect our foreign policy?
How anti-imperialistic policy affected our foreign policy? Actually, you have followed the policy of non-alignment and you organized a non-aligned movement at world scale. It was the glaring example of your anti-imperialistic policy. As you were not ready to join any bloc because you smelt there some element of imperialism in American bloc and Russian bloc. You were just inclined to maintain the independent foreign policy. That's why instead of joining any bloc, you preferred an independent foreign policy of India. So that is the relevance of independent foreign policy.
Sir, Anjali, sir, why did Russia support Pakistan in Tashkent when it was used in
Anjali, it is a matter of surprise. For time being, it is. I have myself told you, in fact, it is a matter of surprise. For time being, Soviet Russia, actually Pakistan is having a very important strategic location. So it might have attracted Soviet Russia. It may be the reason.
Ajay पूछ रहे sir, why was Quit India movement more progressive in UP, Bihar, Bengal, Maharashtra and Karnataka?
Actually, there was not any who?
Ajay,
there was no any definite reason. At that time, you can say the Gandhian appeal was warmly welcomed in cow belt mainly. And second one is that in that time even the Bengal was suffering from some problem and Bihar was having proximity to Bengal, that was the one reason. And second one reason that ki Gandhi ji started his campaigning in 1940s 34 basically in cow belt in the Harijan amelioration program. So Gandhi developed larger than life image in cow belt. So that's why his appeal, do or die, produced much impact, particularly in Bihar and UP Bhojpuri region.
sir, why India left parts of Pakistan, India in 74?
Actually, if you could not have returned the region to Pakistan, it might have been bleeding wound. I have told you, whenever I have taught you this issue of Kashmir, I have told you when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was not ready to give concessions to Kashmir. And at that time, who has asked this question? Divakar. At that time, India was having the control over nearly 1/5 region of Pakistan and 90,000 soldiers were, the Pakistani soldiers were the Indian prisoners of war. But it was D.P. Dhar, who was foreign secretary to Indira Gandhi. He persuaded Indira Gandhi to be flexible and be, you can say, soft towards Pakistan. And he reminded her the consequences of the Treaty of Versailles in Paris Peace Conference. Yet France and Allied powers imposed the tough treaty on Germany after the First World War. It led to the outbreak of the Second World War and the rise of Hitler. So if you will just give Pakistan a severe punishment after the war, So that will prove a bleeding wound between the two nations, and the confidence building measures could never be adopted between the two. So it was a pragmatic approach of Indira Gandhi and D.P. Dhar, his foreign secretary.
Sasi पूछ रहे सर, ask sir, is Bipin Chandra is enough for prelims and mains both?
No, Shashi. Enough term is itself a byword. But you will go through it. You cannot acquire much of them. So please, in social science, don't use the term enough. Leave the term enough. You have to qualify the prelims examination simply at the 50% of the questions. And even Bipin Chandra enable you to get the mark. So no problem at all. You can go through it.
Charu पूछ रहे sir, what happened if Gandhiji was absent Indian national?
Charu, that is a very hypothetical question. Charu, do you know about historian? Historian is a prophet with backward looking. इतिहासकार एक ऐसे भविष्य वक्ता है जो अतीत की ओर देखकर बताते हैं कि भाई किस कारण के क्या कॉन्सिक्वेंस हुए। लेकिन इतिहास एक सोशल साइंस है, इसमें ये फोरकास्ट नहीं किया जा सकता कि क्या नहीं होता तो क्या होता। मतलब इसी पर एक प्रोवर्ब है जो मैंने पहले भी कहा है, यार क्लियोपात्रा की नाक छोटी होती तो विश्व इतिहास की दिशा क्या होती, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री की। देयर इज ए प्रोवर्ब। सो इट इज, माय फ्रेंड्स, इट इज अ वेरी हाइपोथेटिकल क्वेश्चन। If there were no Gandhiji, what could have happened to national movement? So please
Another time.
be careful about that.
Krishna पूछ रहे हैं sir कि how to memorize date? I am facing in memorization.
Krishna, you have frustrated me with your question. Just I have asked you people, have you developed an integrated approach, and whatever approach I have given to you in history, you people have enthusiastically said yes. So you have made me happy. And now once again some of you have started to frustrate me. What is the use of dates? Follow the chronology. 18th century का हिस्ट्री बच्चे तुमको पढ़ना है, किसके बाद क्या हुआ उसको तुम केवल दिमाग में सेट करो ना, डेट्स तो खुद आ जाएंगे। आप अगर ब्लाइंडली डेट्स याद करोगे कभी नहीं होगा। क्या मैंने तुमको इसी डेट्स का कंफ्यूजन के लिए इतना मेहनत करके पढ़ाया? तो तुम किसी से पढ़ लेते? व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ बीइंग टॉट बाय मी? बिकॉज आई ऑलवेज बिलीव्ड इन द वर्टिकल स्टडी एंड हॉरिजेंटल स्टडी. इवन आफ्टर डूइंग द हॉरिजेंटल स्टडी you find such a difficulty, then what is the use of giving such a time? So please, my friends, don't ask such questions to me. Dates, events, there is no use of and there is no application of the dates and events independently.
Bhavna पूछ रही है why international body didn't interfere in carrot and stick policy, the merger of prince.
How could he, if it was the internal matters of India, you know? Who?
Bhavna.
Who?
Bhavna.
Bhavna. It was an internal matter of India. And India did nothing which could have provoked the other party to intervene into the internal matter of India.
Garima पूछ रही है due to which reason the Indian rupee had to be devaluated and what was the impact of this devaluation in the time of Indira Gandhi?
Okay. My student, actually India at that time followed the Bhavna, Garima. Actually at the time of Indira Gandhi, India felt a severe pressure from IMF to make a devaluation of its rupee. Actually, what is the basic problem? I have to inform you. India at that time followed the import substitution policy. इन इंपोर्ट सब्स्टिट्यूशन पॉलिसी की मतलब कि तुम्हें गरिमा इंपोर्ट कम करना है तो तुम्हारे लिए फेवरेबल है कि तुम्हारा रूपी स्ट्रांग हो। अगर तुम्हारी रूपी स्ट्रांग होगी तो इंपोर्ट सब्स्टिट्यूशन पॉलिसी में क्या होता है कि तुम एक्सपोर्ट को नहीं बढ़ा रहे हो, तो एक्सपोर्ट लेड तुम्हारा ग्रोथ नहीं है, और एक्सपोर्ट लेड ग्रोथ होगा तब रुपीज को तुम्हें डिवैल्यू करके रखना होगा ताकि तुम्हारा एक्सपोर्ट बढ़े। So India didn't follow the policy of export-led growth. So India preferred a strong rupee at that time. But IMF created pressure कि no, you have to devalue your rupee. अगर रुपी को आप डिवैल्यू करोगे तो क्या होगा? आपका एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ेगा, इंपोर्ट कम होगा. और इंडिया वाज एट दैट टाइम इंपोर्टिंग मशीन एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. तो इंदिरा गांधी ने फेल्ड प्रेशर जो फेल्ड किया तो उसने 35% शी मेड ए डिवैल्यूएशन ऑफ रुपीज and she made a 35% devaluation, but still IMF, which promised earlier to give the loan, but it could not give the loan, so it was frustrating for Indira Gandhi. क्योंकि उसको डिवैल्यू भी कर लिया और पैसे भी ना मिले. So it was the case. हाँ.
Ramesh पूछ रहे हैं sir, it is correct to characterize Indian culture as a borrowed bag.
It's upon who? Ramesh, it is upon you. You can sometime if you have to give abuse. In social science, why are you, Ramesh? In social science, why are you asking such a question? In social science, nothing is absolute right, nothing is absolute wrong. It was in this course I have simply tried to train you. In social science, you should not try to find out either totally right or totally wrong. If you have to speak in favor of right, you can speak, yes, it is a borrowed baggage, Indian constitution. If you have to defend constitution maker, then told no, they have borrowed from other countries but appropriated aptly to Indian condition. So it was not a borrowed bag. It depends upon you. What are you going to prove it?
What happened during emergency?
What happened during emergency? Indira Gandhi invoked the Article 352 at that time. There was a constitution, the word, you can say in Article 352, the internal disturbances, but now this has been replaced by the armed rebellion. At that time it was not the use. So making benefit from situations, she invoked the Article 352 and imposed the emergency in June 1975. And when the emergency provisions is invoked, then the fundamental rights are suspended. And this happened at that time. Even the court didn't oppose her. And then what happened, it is having a long story. So from where and how to brief?
Sir, study material is enough for?
No. For prelims, you are supposed to do the supplementary work in the beginning of the class, I have told you, Rishi. But for mains, I have just tried to solve your problem. And I have also given you some book list. If you people will like, you can go through it. And for mains, in mains today, I have given extra study material. Who has just asked this question? Rishi. Uncle, while asking the question, you have to speak the name 2 times. One in beginning, one in last. The moderate ideology and politics. Mains features. Today, I have given to you this study material. I have just sent you in PDF form. Extremist ideology. Ankur asked my students, have they downloaded the study material today I have sent to them? Please inform me, my students. Extremist ideology, then Bal Gandhar Tilak ideology, Sri Arvind Ghosh, ideas of Rabindranath Tagore, Hindu nationalism, political career of B.D. Savarkar, the growth of Hindutva and the RSS, Muslim thought, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, Muhammad Iqbal, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the contribution of Subhas in national movement, the difference in the approach of Gandhi and Subhas towards freedom. Total you can say 4 points and 5/5. The features of Nehruvian socialism, socialistic ideas of Nehru and Subhas. Did Nehru speak Gandhi's language? Sardar Patel. Patel's role in post-independence era. Several foreigners made actually 2 questions. It occurred yesterday. I have already given to you. And 1 question multiple choice. Some important I have also given to you. So you people have to go through it, which I have just given to yesterday.
Ajay पूछ रहे sir, why was Orientalist favored the vernacular language?
Ajay, actually, the Orientalist basically they believe that India should be ruled according to Indian tradition, and the British officers who came to India, so they have to learn Indian past and learn a lot about Indian past and culture. Only then they can be a competent officers in India. देखो अजय, एक्चुअली ऐसा है कि जहां पर मैं तुम्हें मर्केंटाइल जो कॉलोनियलिज्म पढ़ाया है, वहां पर मैंने आइडियोलॉजी को पूरे सिस्टम से लिंक करके दिया है. तुम लोग अकेला पूछ रहे हो, इसका मतलब है कि तुम लोग इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच डेवलप नहीं किया. और अगर इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच जो तुम में से जितने भी बच्चों ने डेवलप कर लिया होगा, उनकी तो गोटी लाल हो जाएगी. तो बेटर टू मेक अ रिवीजन सीरियसली एंड ट्राई टू डेवलप द इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच. अकेला तुम मुझसे पूछ रहे हो कि भाई जो ओरिएंटलिस्ट है उन्होंने ऐसा क्यों कहा, तो इसका मतलब हमारे स्कीम को नहीं समझा. मर्केंटाइल जिस समय है उस समय तो मैंने देखो ओरिएंटलिज्म जहां पढ़ाया है वहां तो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, फीचर्स क्या क्या है उस सब को तो मैंने तुमको स्टडी मटेरियल में भी दिया है. फिर इस तरह का नोविस क्वेश्चन क्यों?
सपना पूछ रही है सर, earlier one country one election followed, while later it
अर्लियर वन सपना
earlier one country one elections followed, while later सपना.
वो कंट्री वन इलेक्शन. सपना एक्चुअली यू आर आस्किंग द क्वेश्चन कि द स्टेट एंड द सेंटर the elections, actually later it was very difficult to maintain, because in state government sometimes the government is going to be sacked earlier, sometimes you can say the government there declined further, so it was almost became difficult. One country one election, that is very difficult to enforce, because that is just going sometime even across the constitutional norms, you can say. Suppose you can say in some state if the time expires earlier, or you can say there could be a decline of government, so will you wait for the next election to be conducted? So then how will it be maintained? So this parity could not be maintained.
पूछ रही है सर, Sufi movement.
Muskan, for Sufi movement you have to wait for culture. Sufi movement, it means you people are not having any question to ask. You are simply making jokes now. Someone is asking about Sufi movement, someone is about सूफी मूवमेंट. जब मैं कल्चर पढ़ाऊंगा तो सूफी मूवमेंट कोई 1 सेंटेंस में पढ़ाने की चीज है, उसको पूरा स्कीम बताना पड़ेगा.
Sir, what was the foundation of Green Revolution in regions of Shastri and their country?
Yesterday and the day before yesterday I have taught you the Green Revolution. I have told you कि Shastri has at that time he just lost the election, so he has given the slogan Jai Jawan Jai Kisan. It was his slogan because he tried to link this, you can say, the security of India, the military security of India to the you can say the security of India to the food security, तो मैंने इतना बढ़िया वो कौन सा किन्होंने ये क्वेश्चन पूछा है? खुशबू, ये तो मैंने आपको समझाया हुआ है उसी समय जिस समय मैंने ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन पढ़ाया कि लाल बहादुर शास्त्री ने किस तरह से, सेंटेंस मैंने लिख कर भी दिया हुआ है. प्लीज आप लोगों के पास क्वेश्चन नहीं तो मुझे फुर्सत कर दीजिए, आई विल टेक लीव ऑफ यू. लेकिन जो मैंने इतना बारीकी से पढ़ाया हुआ उस पर इस तरह से क्वेश्चन करोगे तो मुझे ऐसा लगेगा कि पता नहीं बाकी चीजें आप लोग डाइजेस्ट कर पाए कि नहीं.
ईशा पूछ रही, in which year did the Awami League won election?
In 1970, अवामी लीग won the elections in 1970 ईशा, तुमको 2 बार बोलने के लिए कहा है ना अंकुर नाम।
तो पूछने से डिस्कस द कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ मौलाना अब्दुल कलाम आजाद टू बी रिपोर्ट।
नहीं, नॉट अब्दुल कलाम आजाद, फिर तुम नाम ने अतुल, नॉट अब्दुल कलाम आजाद, अबुल कलाम आजाद। Abdul Kalam Azad is not the name. Abul Kalam Azad. I will give the model answer. Actually, in modern history, I have not finished your answer. I will give you the model answer, and I will give you the model answer, and that will be placed on your site.
Yeah, Sudhin पूछे, what was the reason of implement of regulating act? Yeah, Sudhin.
Ghyasuddin, regulating act has been the time over. I have already given you what is the reason. For the first time in the matter of East India Company, the government made a direct intervention because the government was at that time a substantial, you can say, population of Britain were putting a demand ki why the prosperous country like India should be left at the mercy of a British company. So government made first intervention on the basis of regulating act. So my students, now I came to the conclusion you people are not having the question. So that's why I think this is the simply wastage of time. So now I have to make an announcement for the future, and you people have to prepare for that. If you people are still having some relevant question to ask, you are most welcome. But if you are not having the question, so then we have to take leave of each other, no problem. It is not a compulsion. क्योंकि आप लोगों की तरफ से डिमांड आया था, इसलिए मैंने क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन का रखा था। आपके पास क्वेश्चन नहीं तो कोई चिंता की बात नहीं है, ये तो और अच्छी बात है, आप लोग सब क्लियर हो चुका है, तो आप टाइम पास कर रहे हो, तो टाइम पास करने से क्या फायदा, फिर आप लोगों को छुट्टी कर देता हूं। अब माय स्टूडेंट्स, हियर माय पॉइंट इज कि यू हैव डिमांडेड फॉर अ हॉलीडे, holiday for revision work. So you have to make a revision in modern history. So we have decided to give you the leave for 1 week. Means I will resume your class from 24th and from the world history part. So that we have decided कि 24th and world history part. And from 24th to 38th, 31st का month होगा 30th? 30. So up to 30th, I will just engage you 2 hours. But after that, I will, from first one Hindi medium as well, say I will divide the time 1 and 15, 1 hour 15 minutes, 1 hour 15 minutes. So no problem at all. And in world history, people will definitely enjoy, but this is not the prelims part there. There was simply mains part. But world history is the mother of whole general studies, In history as a whole is the mother of general studies. And world history will give you some basic idea about international relations, international economy. But my students, please follow my formula. Otherwise, there is no use of, you can say, taking lesson from me particularly. You have to take the maximum benefit from vertical and horizontal studies. Then you will be benefited a lot. और daily, ये मेरा suggestion है कि revision work आप करने जा रहे हो, तो daily you have to allocate 15 to 20 minutes and half an hour after finishing it to link it, just like the intellectual fermentation. Means कि you are doing the yoga type thing, कि link कर रहे हैं एक दूसरे को, क्वेश्चन को देख रहे हैं, क्वेश्चन पर सोच रहे हैं, क्वेश्चन भी मैंने बहुत सारे मॉडल आंसर आपको दिए हैं, इन सबको फॉलो करते हुए इसको एसिमुलेट करो एंड ट्राई टू बी कॉन्फिडेंट. ओके मिस्टर अंकुर, एनी फर्दर, व्हाट देयर व्यू?
सभी पूछ रहे हैं
Whenever I just teach you world history, I will make you clear. देखो, an outline of world history, that is the book from Ranjan Chakravarti, and it is a precise book, but it covers simply European history mainly. But an outline of world history that will work if you people will like. Otherwise, myself I will provide in the world history. आप लोग कुछ भी मत पढ़ो मेरे, हाँ अगर आप रीडिंग करना चाहते हो तो एनसीईआरटी बुक की रीडिंग करो, और मैं तुमको जिस तरह मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री में दिया है उसी तरह मैं वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में आपको कंप्लीट स्टडी मटेरियल दूंगा. और मैं पहले, आप तो मेरा पढ़ाने का तरीका जान ही गए हो, पहले एडवांस में स्टडी मटेरियल दूंगा फिर क्लास लेता हूं आपका. तो आपको क्या सोचना है, यू हैव टू बी सिंपली अटेंड द क्लास वेरी सीरियसली, यू हैव टू डू द रिवीजन वर्क. लेकिन मेरी क्लास में इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच, मेरे पढ़ाने का तरीका दूसरा है, उसको तुम लोगों ने वैल्यू किया तो देन यू विल गेट मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट, इफ नॉट देन आई एम सॉरी, तो फिर आप क्वेश्चन आंसर अपने लाइफ में स्टैंडर्ड नहीं कर पाओगे। तो प्लीज माय स्टूडेंट्स, बी अ थिंकिंग क्रिएचर and develop an integrated approach. That's my motto.
Sir, please explain different streams of
stream of socialism. Aditi, actually one stream is, that is utopian socialism, means that is talking in terms of class collaboration. Aditi, I have told you earlier. The second stream is, you can say that one stream believes in class collaboration, that is utopian socialism, which believes that through the change of heart we have to bring the socialist changes. So that could not be materialized. Then comes another group that believes in class conflict. In class conflict, two subgroups. One is Marxist. So Marxist, that believes in blood revolution. So that is Marxist. That is called scientific socialism. Another is no, we have to believe in the method of class conflict, but class conflict had to be pursued not through blood revolution but through democratic politics. So that is called democratic socialism or Fabianism also. Jawaharlal Nehru, Acharya Narendra Dev and many other socialists belong to this category. So Aditi, these are the different categories, of socialism. Should I go now, my students? A very sensational session with you people. I have enjoyed a lot while teaching you people. You are really brilliant, and particularly in MCQ questions you have done extremely well. Even you people might have developed the method of some writing, and I am just staying here. If you have to share some view about your experience, for example, in MCQ question, what your position presently, in descriptive questions, what your प्रेजेंट पोजीशन, मतलब आप डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन राइटिंग में कैसा फील कर रहे हो, अब एमसीक्यू में कैसा फील कर रहे हो. सो प्लीज माय स्टूडेंट्स, आई एम स्टैंडिंग हियर, जस्ट कन्वे योर व्यू टू अंकुर, ही विल जस्ट पास योर व्यू टू मी. So far, I recall in MCQ questions you have done extremely well, and even at least I think in descriptive questions you may be slightly more comfortable. क्या confident हैं? Okay, my students. So I'm just now at this point I'm going to finishing my lecture and finish my session. I'll see you on 24th of April, and once again we will start world history. I will just live with you people together for a long time for world history, then culture, etc. So up to this period I can bet you people will be a thinking creature after finishing all these things. Thank you very much. I'll see you.